shockingly said this week, "We haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat," close quote. What? The massive invasion of drones observed and recorded by so many of our citizens, including and especially law enforcement and military personnel, many who are here. Is it unusual? Is he kidding? How does Secretary Mayorkas, who infamously told us for years that our southern border was secure and closed when we know it's not, and now insult our intelligence that we haven't seen anything unusual? This is usual? I don't think so. And how can he and others, like National Security Spokesman Admiral John Kirby, say we know there's no threat? How do they know that? What aren't they revealing? Or are they just saying it? How can anyone speculate or issue assurances to thousands, millions of Americans who have witnessed, thousands who have witnessed the drones, that there is no threat? For weeks, we've asked for the truth and action to mitigate any and all threats to people and property. Now, we are demanding it. As the sightings increase, including by service members at Naval Weapons Station Earl, and I did talk to the commander there, his men are seeing it right there at the base. Are you kidding me? A munitions depot of that caliber, and these drones are hovering in close proximity to it. The Coast Guard told me the other day, and Sheriff Mastronardi, that one of its 47-foot rescue boats was followed in very close proximity off its stern by numerous drones. Why can't we bag at least one of these drones and get to the bottom of it? Why can't we even track them? I asked Secretary Mayorkas at a briefing, a Zoom briefing, why we can't follow them, find out where they're going. They're coming from somewhere. Okay, you can't seem to do that. Why can't we follow them and find what their origin is? Many of them seem to be coming from the ocean. I was with Sheriff Mastronardi the other day on the beach, and we saw a video, and we talked to heard her, one of his deputies talk about how she had seen 50 of them coming from the ocean to mainland. Is there something out there? We don't have the capability to do that. We don't have control over our airspace. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the feckless response to the Chinese Communist Party's spy balloon. When that thing traversed America and went over one very sensitive base, including the B-2 bombers base, after another. We did nothing except say, oh, it's a spy balloon. Or is it? Or is it a weather balloon? I still can't get over that one. The elusive maneuvering of these drones, I would suggest a major military power sophistication that begs the question whether they have been deployed to test our defense capabilities, or worse, by violent dictatorships, perhaps maybe Russia or China or Iran or North Korea. I mean, they have the capability, and they certainly have the motive. The Pentagon has said the drones are not ours. I've written Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin asking the Pentagon to authorize the use of force to down one or more of these unmanned threats to uncover the mystery. Bring them down over the ocean, over an area where there's no population. Bring them down and find out who's doing it. Knowing that drone warfare has radically changed warfighting in Ukraine and Russia, the Middle East, and elsewhere, this is not the time to trivialize or dismiss the threat. I want to express the profound thanks that I and my colleagues have to both Ocean County Sheriff Mike Mastronardi and Monmouth County Sheriff Sean Golden for doing all within their power and authority to aggressively investigate and track drone appearances. They are doing an amazing job. As many of you know, state and local law enforcement is precluded by law from taking more decisive action, which is why DOD must. They are the ones who have the ability and the authority to act. Congress, yes, and the President, yes, need to move quickly to expand state and local authorities, powers. But DOD has it right now. Sheriff Golden wrote me a few days ago requesting legislation to empower the state police to seriously protect at-risk persons and infrastructure, and if necessary, bring down a dangerous drone or drones. I am now drafting that bill and will soon introduce it. I want to thank him for that idea. I'd like to now yield the floor to Sheriff Mastronardi and then to Sean Goldman. Sure.
Thank you, Congressman. I just want to clarify a couple of things that have happened. We have a very robust drone program in Ocean County. We've had it for 8 years or more. We're very fortunate. It's headed by Sergeant Fennessy. When we started to get these reports at the 911 center from local PDs, we went out and we decided to do a drone patrol, more or less. And we took our tethered drone, which you see over here, that the officers are demonstrating, and we put it up in the air on Saturday night a week ago. At that time, Sergeant Fennessy, who's an experienced drone operator and pilot, and Officer D'Amico spotted one of the items that brought us concern. They videotaped it as far as they were. They got some tape on it. They described it as going around their drone and traveling off at a high rate of speed. They reported to us that it was, they felt it was 60 miles an hour or more. And it put it in perspective, our drones only go about 40 miles an hour. So that's number one. Sunday night, we were out again. This time was Sergeant Fennessy once again. And at that point, we got notified by our 911 center there was concern of a sighting in Island Beach State Park. We responded. We met an officer, a certified New Jersey law officer, not from our department, from another agency. And that officer did an excellent job. She documented. That's where you're getting the reports of 50 drones coming off the ocean. That's what she reported seeing. She was on duty at the time, and she reports that she saw 50 drones coming from the ocean to the mainland, transversing the airways over Island Beach State Park, going down towards Barnegat Light and coming to the seaside area. As a result of that, we continue to operate. We've obviously notified all of our partners, FBI, State Police, Coast Guard. Coast Guard cutter put out a boat at a Barnegat Light. They reported to us what the Congressman referred to the comments. I have not spoken to the people on that boat directly. So what are we doing? We're taking proactive, working with Sheriff Golden, our partner, also Sheriff Nolan, Cape May County, and Sheriff Donahue from Atlantic County. We're taking some, trying to document what's happening, if there's anything happening off the coast of New Jersey. But, you know, obviously there's a lot of attention to this matter throughout. Social media is a little bit different than it used to be than when I first came on the job, so that's something you have to control too, because people are putting everything out there. We were looking at the time that the Sergeant Fennessy reported seeing the drone. We have flight radar mapping capabilities, and we did not see anything on indicating it was a plane. We get numerous reports of planes. On the other side of the coin, we get people reporting drones when we look right at the radar and say, no, that's a plane going over your house. And then they want to argue with you and say, no, no, no. So just so you know, the flight path to JFK out here, what we see is that they're traveling about 18 to 20,000 feet in the air. And coming out of Newark, going south in the western part of the county, they're about the same, 18 to 20 going south. The ones coming from the islands that are going to land at Newark come over our county at about 6,000 feet. These drones are less than 1,000. So obviously they want us to know they're there. They put on their lights. So who it is, I wish I could tell you. We don't know. We keep telling, everybody says, well, it's the government. I don't know, but I think the government has a responsibility, in my opinion, that if it is them, just tell us and we'll be happy about it. But if it isn't, we got to get some answers. So we continue. We see a lot of activity out here. We see other agencies now paying attention to New Jersey, thanks to the Congressman, his support. So hopefully we'll continue to get some answers in a short period of time. In the meantime, I can assure the resident of Ocean County, working with my partners in Monmouth, Ocean, and Atlantic County, that we'll do all we can to document and see what we have out there and address. We have teams that go out from our CSI unit when we get reports to try to document. We had an officer out. We have some special camera lenses that we're looking at, that they're up there and trying to convince the homeowners that, yeah, that's a planet, you're okay. So some of it's difficult on the other side. So we want to make sure we're just fair, reasonable, and let's deal with just the facts. Thank you very much. Sheriff Golden?
Yeah. Thank you, Sheriff Mastronardi, and I want to thank Congressman Smith for your tireless effort. When your constituents have a problem in Monmouth and Ocean County, Congressman Smith is always there, and we have a problem, right? We have a number of reports that had occurred over a month ago in New Jersey, has worked its way down to Monmouth and Ocean County, continues night after night to be a problem and an issue for our residents. And as the congressman said, our own military personnel from 2 different locations, Picatinny Arsenal and Naval Weapons Station Earl, as well as numerous first responders and public safety people, have identified these objects in the air. So for Washington to just shun off those type of issues and say it's all planes, right, is not good enough. And I know Congressman Smith is taking it to it. I want to thank, though, Colonel Callahan of the New Jersey State Police and our Office of Homeland Security Preparedness here in New Jersey, because they're doing all they can with the limited amount of technology and limited resources to monitor the situation, to provide real-time dashboards and data to all of the counties involved. And I think they're doing a fantastic job in doing so. But again, they're limited. Part of our conversations with Congressman Smith early on, as he knows, was we need to have our legislation keep pace with the laws and the operation of drones. It has not, right? We know that the FAA and the federal government is solely in charge of the airways and the drone operations as we see it today. We're calling upon Congress, and Congressman Smith is leading the way, to modify legislation so that not just 3 federal agencies are able to have drone detection and de-drone equipment, right? To be able to put that hands in the state policing units around the country. This is a national public safety and security issue, right? If they aren't foreign drones, then it is a state public safety issue. In order for the state to react, state policing units from around the country will need new technology to detect drones, recreational or commercial. They will need laws that assist them in being able to de-drone, right? That means if we have large-scale gatherings that don't involve our federal partners, we must be able to monitor any of those drone actions above those gatherings and take action, right? And the only way to do that is to change the federal laws that we see today to keep up with the technology and to make sure that those laws keep up with the pace of growth and deployments. We have drone delivery systems going commercially. We see Amazon and Walmart, all of our corporations, right, expanding for drone technology. But what we don't see are the laws and rules and regulations to keep up with that. That's why in my letter transmitted to Congressman Smith, it had several points. One of those points in there, commercial or retail regulation, all have to show up on some type of map so that our first responders know that they're there. It can't be voluntary. It can't be an app that a private organization in AirAware has made up. It's very useful. It's good, but it's not coming off the FAA radar. So the FAA has to step up. They have to integrate that technology for drone detection into the FAA maps that we see today. Not only that, we have to continue and press upon the fact that our federal government right now, because of those laws, as Congressman knows, is the only way that we're going to get resolved to these issues today. They're the only ones that have the technology, they're the only ones that have the law, and they're the only ones that can come in here and identify the sources. Because again, at the state level, county and local, we don't have that tech, we don't have the authority to even take one of these down, right? And until that change happens in Congress, we rely on the federal government. So for the hundreds of reports and the hundreds of sightings with trained personnel, for the federal government to just shun this away is unreasonable, quite frankly, unacceptable. And I know Congressman Smith is working on it. I know our Governor Murphy had transmitted a letter to the White House just yesterday asking for more resources so that we can get to some solution or resolve to these sightings. Now, to our residents out there, there is some fear and apprehension. Let me say this. We mentioned Flight Aware or Air Aware and Flight Radar 24. You should download them. If you're looking up in the sky and you think you see something, go to the app, see if there's anything available before you contact us. We are getting a lot of false calls in. Here's what I would recommend. Number one, do not call 911. It's not an emergency unless you see one of these things crash, right? That would be an emergency. Please don't call 911. Notify your local police department via the non-emergency landline. They will get to it. They'll record it. They will send it up to the county sheriffs. We will record it, and certainly we'll send that to our state Homeland Security by way of SARS, our Suspicious Activity Reporting System. That's number one. Number two, there's been a lot of talk about shooting these things down. I want to say this. As a resident or a gun owner, lawful, please do not do so. A discharge of firearms in those kind of zones, you will be breaking many state laws. And certainly we just discovered and just discussed the federal laws that you would be breaking in trying to take down a drone. So please don't do that, right? Third, if you see one or you see a line, I don't know that you should call 911. I mean, make the notification to the local law enforcement. In other words, could those be planes in the approach path to our neighboring airports? Certainly. But when you see several, as we had reports of last night and the night before, 5 or 6 weaving in and out at a low altitude, that would be the time to notify us locally and at the county level so we can investigate a little bit further. I want to thank the public for their cooperation in those steps, right, and keeping everybody safe. Again, I want to thank Sheriff Mastronardi working together with our drone units and our technology. We continue to monitor those different reportings that we are receiving still in a flurry last night in Monmouth County, and we'll continue to monitor that. And I want to thank Congressman Smith yet again for stepping up, bringing attention to the matter, trying to bring federal resources to bear so that we can resolve or get to the bottom of this issue. We're going to turn it over to
John Peterson.
Mayor. I think we're going to turn it over to the Mayor, John Peterson. Thank you.
Tall one. He stays in the back.
I am in the back, but I thank Congressman Smith, thank Sheriff Mastronardi, our neighboring Sheriff Goldman, all of whom have joined together at our meeting in Seaside Park just the Thursday one back, December 5th. Our residents reported seeing such drones, and that was the night, if you recall, the winds were howling here along the coast, 35 to 50 mile an hour gusts. There is no way, absolutely, that these were any hobbyist drones. They were something far above and beyond that. These issues are very, very concerning, and the response from the federal government is very, very insulting. And I thank all of my colleagues here standing together. We're demanding answers. It's for our safety, it's for our well-being, and it's the responsibility of the federal government so far, which has fallen on nearly deaf ears. So thank you all, and thank Mayor Vaz as well, and Chief Boyd next door, all keeping us safe.
Thank you, Mayor. We have every level of government here from you met 2 of the mayors. We have county commissioners, including Tom Arnone, who is the director of the county commissioners in Monmouth County. And Ginny Haynes is here. If they would, any of our distinguished leaders who are here would like to say a word or two, and then we'll go to questions. please identify yourself as you get there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vicki Flynn, the State Assemblywoman from District 13. I first, on behalf of the state, would love to thank the law enforcement personnel here. The sheriffs in Ocean and Monmouth are exceptional. I think everyone trusts that they're doing everything that they can to make sure that they're going to get to the bottom of it and keep everyone safe. I would also like to thank Congressman Smith for his leadership in making sure that we get whatever legislative changes needed to address this issue. On behalf, I'm sure the other legislators would like to speak, but I know this week we vote in Trenton. All the state legislators will be down there on Thursday, and I can't think of a more important issue than the one right now facing New Jersey is this drone issue. I know Governor Murphy issued a letter asking for support from the president, and we are going to do the same in the legislature. I know the Republicans are drafting a resolution. I'm hoping we will have bipartisan support asking for immediate federal funding, federal support, so that this is not left on the shoulders of the local sheriffs, local law enforcement, and our state police. We need more federal intervention because this is definitely a federal issue that is being unaddressed. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. That will be introduced probably Monday, and hopefully on Thursday we will be voting on this issue. I don't know if any of my other state legislators would like to speak on that.
I'll just say a couple of words. Ocean County Commissioner Frank Sadeghi. As the congressman indicated, I think the biggest disappointment here is the fact that we rely on the federal government to protect us. That's one of the main things that they're supposed to do, and they have failed us. We've been talking about this for 3 weeks. When I have a young father who called me 2 nights ago crying because he has kids in the elementary school in Island Heights, my hometown, and he doesn't know if the kids should be in the lockdown mode during the times where they see something in the sky. This is affecting our citizens every day, every night, and this has to stop. The federal government has to stand up to their responsibility and protect our citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.